Breaking news today. Troubled Xi and Putin seek comfort from the BRICS. President Xi Jinping of China arrived at this year's BRICS summit in Johannesburg today amid mounting problems at home, including a slowing economy, a collapse in the real estate market, and ongoing trade tensions with the United States. Vladimir Putin, his Russian counterpart, is skipping the summit of emerging market powers to avoid an international arrest warrant and will deliver a speech from a distance instead. He has been at war with Ukraine for 18 months with no sign of victory. Putin, Xi, and BRICS allies see an opportunity to disrupt the status quo. O'Neill. BRICS expansion gets interesting if Saudis join. This is one of 5 things to keep an eye on as South Africa hosts the BRICS summit. Before BRICS and G20 summits, India and China calm border talks. Check this link for the most recent coverage of the BRICS meeting. Over the course of 3 days, they plan to meet with other BRICS members Brazil, India, and South Africa in an effort to improve their international profiles, form a unified front against the United States and its allies, and open up new commercial opportunities. Growing the team is essential to succeeding. While there is widespread agreement that this is necessary, disagreements remain over who can join and when. For example, India is concerned that BRICS will become a pro-Chinese alliance. Saudi Arabia and Indonesia are among the first in line of many countries that have expressed interest. The summit will also focus on bolstering the role of the bloc's new development bank and increasing trade in domestic currencies to lessen members' reliance on the dollar. However, there are obstacles. Since its inception, the group's member countries have had minimal influence on the international policy agenda, and they remain peripheral players in the world's most influential organizations. The fact that so many countries want to join is a symbolic victory for Xi and Putin in their efforts to change that. However, many concerns remain about the effectiveness of a more diverse BRICS and whether or not additional member countries will aid their efforts to diminish the United States' global sway. News around the world. Donald Trump has announced that he will turn himself in to Georgia authorities on Thursday to face criminal conspiracy charges related to the 2020 presidential election. In the case brought against him by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, the former U.S. president agreed to a $200,000 bond. This will be the 4th time Trump has faced criminal charges in 2018. In response to Trump's request that his separate federal trial in Washington over election interference be postponed until 2026, Special Counsel Jack Smith has said that there is no valid reason why the case can't begin in January. Joe Biden, Vice President of the United States, visited areas of Maui hit hard by recent wildfires and where hundreds of people are still missing. He described the situation as a unimaginable tragedy, and tried to reassure locals who were angry with his response to the disaster. The U.S. government estimates the damage at over $5.5 billion, so Biden has promised to help the people of Hawaii with whatever you need, for as long as it takes. After reviewing corporate filings from over 17,000 companies since the end of 2019, Bloomberg News determined that New York and California have lost firms that managed close to $1 trillion in assets over the past 3 years. Cities and states are struggling because of the loss of tax revenue caused by the departure of thousands of high-income workers from the Northeast and West Coast. As a result of the difficulties associated with hybrid employment, commercial real estate markets have also lost valuable tenants. Bloomberg's finest opinion: your town will eventually experience extreme weather, too. Opinion. BRICS rapper Daniel Moss says a global currency is still an impossible dream. Friend and foe in Asia. Karishma Vaswani on China's declining influence. According to The New Yorker, Elon Musk told U.S. Pentagon officials on a call about SpaceX's provision of satellite-based internet to the Ukrainian military that he had spoken personally with Putin. After Musk proposed peace plans that were praised by the Kremlin and criticized by Ukraine, a controversy erupted, and this report revives that controversy. Soon after, Musk threatened to stop funding Kyiv's access to Starlink after Ukrainian troops reported problems with the service. The Russian invasion of Ukraine is being covered in greater detail here. Keir Starmer's resurgent Labour Party is trying to win back support in Scotland from the pro-independent Scottish National Party before the next general election in the United Kingdom. Gaining traction in Glasgow, once a loyal stronghold, will be crucial, and a special election scheduled for the near future will provide a sneak peek at the political showdown. After last month's election, which was widely criticized for being neither free nor fair, the Cambodian parliament approved a new government led by the son of outgoing leader Hun Sen Hun Manet, a graduate of West Point, finally became prime minister. This culminated a political succession that had been in the works for years. Balance of Power, hosted by Bloomberg TV's Anne-Marie Hordern and Joe Matthew, airs weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. The video and audio will be broadcast on Bloomberg TV and streamed live on this page. In the news, with their demands for spending cuts and conditions on money for Ukraine, the ultra-conservative Freedom Caucus in the U.S. House of Representatives has increased the likelihood of a government shutdown on October 1. The United States lifted restrictions on 27 Chinese companies and organizations before Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo's planned trip to Beijing this month, a move that was seen as an apparent olive branch from Washington. The controversial release of wastewater treated at the damaged Fukushima nuclear plant into the Pacific Ocean will begin in Japan on Thursday. After gaining enough support from voters outside of his coalition, political newcomer Sretha Thavisin was poised to become the next Prime Minister of Thailand. As a sign of loosening border restrictions that could allow the return of stranded North Korean nationals and the expansion of trade with China, North Korea's state airline made its first international trip since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, to Beijing. In conclusion, parents can be fooled by computer-generated children's voices because they sound so real. Face ID bypassing masks made from social media users' uploaded photos. Sci-fi as it may sound, the AI revolution has given criminals access to new tools and the possibility of catastrophic financial loss by exploiting unsuspecting consumers with deepfake techniques. Read more from Bloomberg's Washington edition for in-depth reporting on the intersection of business and politics in the nation's capital. Supply Lines for Daily Insights into Supply Chains and Global Trade Economics Daily for what the shifting landscape means for policymakers, investors, and you. Green Daily for the most recent in climate news, zero-emission technology, and Green Finance BW Daily for exclusive insights, original reporting, and expert analysis from Businessweek's illustrious journalists.